If you think your city is dangerous, that's probably because you haven't seen Bilgewater. Here, there are no rules, no warranties. You can win it all or lose everything. Bilgewater is home for misfits, those in debt, the outcast, pirates, mercenaries, shady traders,
and creatures who would rather not to share their past.
This city became famous thanks to one man, Gangplank. He had total control fear across Runeterra, known as the King of the Seas, attacking anyone with breaches, until one person ruined his day, Sarah Fortune, better known as Miss Fortune. Famous for her beauty and tenacity in equal measure. How did she do it? She blew up his flagship, the Massacre, with him inside. Meanwhile, Miss Fortune took control, but holding the throne in Bilgewater is harder than closing a match in silver between betrayals, old enemies, and creatures from the abyss. Fun fact, it was once believed that having a woman in a bunker brought bad luck. Putting war and betrayal aside, Bilgewater also has a vibrant culture, born from chaos and the need to survive.
Its architecture is based on the temples of an ancient civilization,
using scraps, parts of ships, or whatever they find to create homes and centers of activity connected by hanging walkways. The most unfortunate barely distinguish their homes from the waters where they work. Crossing these dangerous waters is part of their daily life. Meanwhile, the more recognized enjoy their time in the taverns up high. The city, apart from its stories of sea monsters, lost treasures, and legendary betrayals, has today been overtaken by capitalism, turning these sea creatures into a business,
benefiting as always the strongest.
Common jobs in this city include captains like Luffy and his crew, or harpooner, hunting sea creatures. Then we have the boatmen, who collect their daily bodies and take them their final resting place, the sea. The powerful are buried inside submerged coffins under floating tombs, while the poor are often tied to rotting anchor beneath waterlogged barrels.
Bilgewater is classist.
On the shores, we find horns that, when sounded, disorient the waves and mask our location from the threat of sea monsters. As is typical in such societies, there is a bounty board. It is said that Gangplank kept raising the bounty of his own head with silver serpents, challenging the entire city. The supernatural is part of everyday life, not just because the black mist who wants to consume everything.
Subscribe, because in the next video I'll explain where this black mist comes from.
But because there are prophets and witches who claim to see destiny in carved bones or even in the foam of the sea.
Some say that certain taverns hide portals to other dimensions, and that creatures in the depths trade favors for secrets.
The ancestral culture of voodoo is widely respected and observed, sometimes even emulated in daily life in Bilgewater. Traditional medicine, monster hunting techniques, and so on. Within Bodo culture likes Nagakaborus, the goddess of life, growth, and continuous movement, known as the Mother Serpent, the Great Kraken, or the Verdant Woman. She is often represented with a gigantic, monstrous head,
from which tentacles emerge.
This is where Illaoi comes in, the prophet of the Great Kraken, a priestess who is accompanied by this goddess. If she deems it necessary, she uses her golden idol to smack you, tearing the spirit from your body and shattering your perception of reality. And just like this, you already know the lore of her E. Speaking of characters from Bilgewater, we have Nautilus. Once known for his diving skills, he always asked his crew to throw a coin into the sea for good luck before their voyage. Out of respect, one day a captain became interested in Nautilus and his crew, but when it came time to depart, the captain refused to throw the coin. Later, he realized that this man wasn't after riches. Power was his true motivation. Nautilus put on his diving suit, and while under deep water, was violently dragged away.
His chain broke, leaving him unable to return to the surface,
and his ship sailed away.
Returning years later to Bilgewater, Nautilus seeks revenge, attacking ships driven only by greed.
But not everything in Bilgewater is heavy artillery, effort, and revenge. There's also love, like Twisted Fate and Grave, the thief duo who went from partners to enemies and then back. Or Pike, a former sea monster hunter who is now a serial killer with a blacklist of traitors, longer than the queue to find a match. Fizz and Tamkinch don't belong to Bilgewater, but this is the region they are most associated with. Fizz, As we saw it before, is an amphibious yodel who left Vandal City to play around the docks of Bilgewater, and Tamkench is a demon who roams the rivers of Runeterra.
Probably the rivers of the Serpent Islands, blackmailing and deceiving his prey. As for interactions with other champions, we have
Ari and Yasuo,
who travel to Bilgewater as bodyguards for each other.
Camille trained with natives of the Serpent Islands, where she learned to effectively use a grappling line and a hook. Lucian and Olaf defended Bilgewater from the Black Mist. Zed is antagonistic towards Gangplank, after the latter raided the Blade's Edge Temple in Illaoi. In summary, Bilgewater is not a place for the weak. Here, only the cunning, the strong, and those who know how to run can survive. And if you ever decide to visit, good luck. Or better yet, stay at home and play some Aram. It's safer. If you like any particular champion, we're explaining the lore of all of the champions super quickly on our social media. Follow us. Thanks for watching the video. Like and subscribe, or Pike will add you to his list. See you next week with more lore with less risk.